And when it's setting, you're responding, you're trying to respond, you're trying to keep the darkest things out, but they're coming in, you're having to take in, it's affecting you. So either way, you're having to deal with this, but it's one, you're dishing it out, the other is coming in, coming at you, coming into you, coming from the midheaven and the outer reactions to people, to your adjustments, to your health, to your performance. And there's blocks on your performance because nobody's supporting you. I can't do it if you're not supporting me. Pluto setting. I got to do it even if you're not supporting me, but why are you fighting me? But I got to get this done. So if you were in a boot camp, before a war, and you're having to get pumped up to be, they got the sergeant major who's yelling at you, who's driving everybody to the edge that they can. Like, I would be fighting the guy, but I'd be determined not to quit because I'd be fighting the guy regardless. Someone would be reacting to him and really fight. They'd have to fight it. And they have to do what they have to do because otherwise the repercussions, it just goes either way. When you're dishing it out, I would run into the guy. I'd set the guy off. Someone else would be picked on. But so my power struggles aren't so much about relationships. It's about me living up to whatever I have to, or facing the things I have to face. If you don't have a spiritual side, these outer planets become really difficult to direct or control. So if you have a sense of belief or faith, Pluto tests it. It's like Job, and in the Bible, he says, anyways, that's a long story. I won't get caught in it, but just what's fair? Pluto doesn't seem fair, but it usually is tied up to fears and blocks that you dished out or happened to you or you made happen in another lifetime, and it's still coming in and you still have the sensitivity in this lifetime. Now, if you go back 2 or 3 lifetimes, very few people in the world live a lifetime without there being a war in history. Okay? So, or gangs or bullies or some violent things happening. We're really privileged in North America, or in Canada especially, because we haven't had the wars. So we're kind of spoiled in that way. But it doesn't mean we're not threatened by other people that might want Canada. So, but this personal, I mean, it's not words, it's a sensitivity, it's a nerve. But the Pluto rising and the Pluto setting, Pluto rising, you may think there's these idiots out there, but you're running into them, you're pushing into them. So I was afraid of my father, but probably I would set him off or instigate him. I just thought it was normal. But the reacting side, Pluto on the setting side, it creates the complex, how come this has happened, and having to deal with unfair things that happen in the world. How do you deal with it? Well, the Pluto is going out to champion unfair things, and it gets difficult things happening. How come it gets blocked? How come this gets stopped when it's rising? When it's setting, it's coming at you. And you can't see it coming because it's not a seeable planet. It's just present. So in this half of your chart has this sort of fear or confrontation or need to be really true, to face up to whatever's true. So it's like you're having to be an auditor wherever. So you're having to be really auditing and critical and judgmental of what's true of what you're putting out, rising, or who you're reacting or accepting. And so you may live a perfect life, but if you attract someone who's no good or doing really bad things, you're still responsible for it and you have to put up with it. There's a setting Pluto. It doesn't mean if you have Pluto setting, you're just going to attract that, because you have all the rest of your chart working into it. It's just a nerve that's there and will come up at some times in your life. One of the difficult things about knowing astrology is you're going to meet people and doing consultations, you're going to meet all kinds of people. And if you've done 1,000 charts, for sure, you would have done at least one murderer's chart and not necessarily know about it. You would have certainly done 5 or 10 rapists. Not to mention how many people have ripped off or deceived somebody else, or how many people have been unfaithful and broken someone's heart, or you're going to meet a whole strange spectrum of human experiences. And you're going to have to learn how to deal with it. So sometimes you have to look into the dark things, into the harsh things where Pluto is, and see, okay, that's there. The meditation for Pluto is 2 words. Yeah, this happened to me. I can never do it again. I'll never So what? Yeah, but it was the, so what? Well, damn, if it was that, so what? Well, then that means this. I'm going to have to be like, yeah, this is how Pluto works on this level. It can cause a tremendously deep breakthrough and tremendously deep insights once the fear is changed to just truth, real truth. So you might be born again and your daughter decides she wants to marry a Muslim guy. Or you might be white and have your kid will marry someone that's Oriental or black, or you might be Chinese and someone wants to marry another culture. Like, those are confrontational things. But doesn't mean it can't be dealt with. It just means they can go to extremes if they're not dealt with, honestly. And one person's truth can be stronger than others, and there can be real fights from it. But when you face the fear, usually the fear just sits still there, and there's a manner of controlling it. Like if you had a business and you've been ripping things off and your books aren't right, and the auditor's knocking on your door, it's too late to hide the books and throw them out the back door. The auditor's there. You're going to get caught. You have to deal with it. So, okay, face it. No sense running away. Deal with it. By the time you've done something wrong, face it. This is like Pluto. Deal with it. But most of us are afraid of dealing with things. We get afraid of something. Oh boy, one lie and another, one fear and another. It keeps building up till it becomes this major phobia. Or something bad happens to you. You can say you get raped or something bad, really bad happens. You can be afraid of ever laying down defenses like that again, afraid to the point that you're not letting love through at all. Because that happened, I can't possibly love. It's not true. It's just painful. So years of therapy can go into dealing with something like that. So, so truth is a really harsh experience. What's really true? What's really real? Will it work? You can invest money and build up this whole big computer thing and get it all work. And then once it starts running, something's wrong, boom, the whole thing crashes and all the money's gone. Oh, there's a Pluto reality. Something crashed. It wasn't real. Okay. You don't want to accentuate the negative Pluto. You just sort of say there's some block here, there's some harshness there. You're seeing it rising or setting. And you have to do church. You have to check yourself to see, how's that working for me? You're not going to get a word. You're going to get an instinct about it. And the more you realize, how can I be true there? And what's really true? And how can there be a God if kids die? Or how can there be a God if this happened to me? This is Pluto. There's still a God. How come this happened to me? It's not fair. Well, who knows? Whether you're creating karma or whether old karma from other lifetimes is catching up to you. If you lived 3 or 4 lifetimes, for sure you were a soldier. For sure you were in some place where somebody got killed or something happened. For sure you got karma more than what seems to be fair in this one lifetime. Whew. Okay, so they can seem to be to other people your irrational fears, but they're normal to you. And so that's normal for you, and you still have to work with it, whether people acknowledge it or not. The same thing is Pluto above the horizon or Pluto below the horizon. Are your blocks and fears subjective? Do you have to face subjective blocks? And how do you overcome this interpersonal block? I have to go down into the pit. I have to fight it. I have to do something to face it, or I don't want to face it. I can't deal with it. Can't deal with it. So I'm going to do anything to not have to face this. Whoa. It's hardly noticeable until you have a kid or someone who's pulled away and pulled in, and you don't know why, and they're not functioning outwardly, so it looks like a social functional problem, but really they have a subjective block. Then you have different types of art or education or communication or expression that need to be cultivated. The person has to go through these things to transform. to learn to use it. If you ask for sympathy where Pluto is, you're going to get walked on. Oh, give me a break. Bam, there's a break. You know, like, I love you. So what? You know, where's the rent money? Like, it's just that brutal harshness. That's Pluto. And when it's put against the background of some simple, innocent playfulness, it's really harsh. So usually people have to pull away from those things, and they just control it. They can go inward and control themselves so they never show their fear outwardly. Whew. My second wife, very cautious person, but very efficient, very capable of working. She had a phobia, never knew about it, not for years. She was afraid of going in the bathroom anywhere else away from home. Well, my friends are all over the country. So I think nothing of, let's drive, we're going to go see so-and-so, and she'd be hesitant to go. I don't want to go to the country. I don't want to go out and see those people. I don't want to go, they didn't want to go much further than an hour away. Much less when it came time, it's too late to go back, we've got to stay over. It would challenge all her fears. And she'd always be saying, let's go, let's go. And I'd say, what, we just got here. It was not fathomable. Yet, that was there. And it really interfered with a lot of her life. It made her afraid of doing a lot of things. She's a very capable person. You wouldn't know this about her. I was living with her, I didn't know it. I was running into it, but I didn't know what it was for years. When I finally realized, I went, oh, that's coming from there? Whoa. But it crystallized into a specific phobia. You know, so anxiety complexes, Uranus can bring anxiety in a nervous sense, a restless nervous sense, like almost anxiety kind. But Pluto is a fearful anxiety. You can say paranoid or psychotic and feared of everything. That's an extreme of Pluto. So everybody's got Pluto somewhere. Not everybody's psychotic. Okay, most people aren't. It's only when these come up to the surface we have our run-ins, and we have to face things. And there's going to be an area in our chart or a style in our chart that's going to be challenged. It's not going to be so easy to move or change or go things. But if necessity comes, it'll control things and be there. You know, like, or it has the potential to.